Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Just a Couple of Bagels podcast. I am your host, Tom Jones, and I am here joined by my good friend, Mr. Sam Brown. How are you, Sam?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. I'm sticking to my running from last podcast. If you didn't hear, I
Yes.
took up running. I did my weekly run.
We need to get that pushed up now, Tom. Let's get it to two.
Well, the other thing I've started, I'm a man of new things this year. I did yoga today.
I started yoga and Pilates.
Yes, you're a middle-aged woman now, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. I am. I literally got a yoga mat the other day as well.
That's the equivalent
Yes.
of the running shoes. You
Yes,
lured
it is.
in now.
I'm committed, and I've also started at home workout, like strength training at home now. Weights.
Very
So
good. Well, I'm
start
pleased
of
with that.
2021 is officially started for me, Tom.
Wonderful. Very, very
Doing about
good.
trying to do 3-4 runs a week, strength training, Pilates, yoga, stretching, and all that.
How do you find yoga?
Hard. I'm not flexible. I
The
wanted to
person.
learn how to get, because basically I do classes, so like all these online classes, and there's pictures of them before to see what poses you need to get into. And there's one where there's a woman like doing some sort of headstand, and she's like doing a push up in a headstand. And I'm like, that is where I want to get to. I want to get into a headstand I can push up in. Like, it's incredible. I was like, I can't do that now. I'll break my neck trying to do it. So we'll have to wait. But
You're going
that's the
to be
goal. That's it. I
zen.
want you. Yeah, by the end of the year, I want to be able to do a headstand into like some weird sort of push up.
Love it, love
That's
it.
the goal.
I did have quite a positive thing. I did it with my sister, who you know, because she's all into yoga and what have you. And I tried,
Right.
and I was very pleased. I was a little bit more flexible than her.
Oh, really?
So I'm on the
Actually, during a
right.
session, it'll make you all look very flexible.
Oh yes. But it was enjoyable actually. I preferred it to doing like just basic stretching.
Yeah, you can get like Pilates engages core a bit more, so you get a bit of a core workout going at the same time.
Well, unfortunately, tennis-wise, once again, we haven't been able to do anything. We're still stuck in lockdown.
Yeah, same news as last week, I guess. Nothing new.
Well, we can empathise with the professional players that are in Australia at the moment because they're doing nothing either.
Oh, but my heart aches and earns to them so much.
Who's your
They're living
favourite? Who's your favourite? What have you seen people
to
doing in their
win.
hotel? In their hotel rooms.
Oh no! Like this was hilarious. It wasn't really practice, but Katie Boltner, her room is adjacent, it backs onto her coach's room. And then if you saw the video, she starts volleying against the wall of her coach's room really early in the morning.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
And I think it's brilliant. I'm like, yes, I would 100% be doing that. Leaves my mind in lockdown. I mean, literally, imagine that, how annoying that would be. I found that funny.
I think Heather Watson's done like a mini triathlon in her
She's got a
room.
bike and all that, hasn't she? Yeah. There's one. I don't know which player it was who literally put a mattress up, like so it's vertical, and started rallying against that.
That's quite a good idea.
Yeah.
Showing the imagination of the professional players.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
But
that.
yeah, I guess it is tough for them, but at the same time, at least they got a tournament to look forward to.
Yes, very true. I'm sure it'll all be worthwhile. Do you think the standard will drop then with them all being?
Yes. Yeah. Fitness will drop. 100%. 100%. It'll be an interesting one because I think like people like Djokovic, whose game's based on a lot of fitness, might see him wear a little bit.
We could see a new champion.
Potentially, yeah. I feel like for women's, her favourite still Barty.
Yes, definitely. I'd say Barty or Halep. I'd probably go with. Those are my go-to ones.
Men's, I'm not sure. Could see Fed's still out.
I mean, I could be.
Team
I would put Team quite high.
Yeah, I put Team. Yeah, definitely. Even Zverev now, because I think he's got to be his year, surely.
Zverev frustrates me immensely because I really like watching him and I really like him as a personality and as a player. But his second serve is
as bad as mine, not saying something.
it's because it feels like it's mental.
It is mental. It was Andy Murray's old psychology coach. Because Murray was exactly the same, getting to the positions like the semis and the finals, but it's possible. And he got, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the name of the psychologist. I think the guy wrote the Chin Paradox.
Oh yes, I know the book.
Yeah, I've read part of the book. So that's really interesting. It's a good read. It's just like there's a lot to take in, but it's an interesting book about how basis of it is like there's a chimp in everyone's brain, and it controls us, and you need to learn to tame this chimp to do what you want it to do. And at the moment, the case of Zverev and early Andy Murray, and even like me and you, the chimp controllers. It's like, for example, like if you're out on a run, if you get a bit tired, your brain starts to go, oh no, I can't, let's just slow down, let's stop. Yes. You need to train, that's your chimp telling you to do that. You need to, resist that and say, no, I'm going to power through, sort of. It's been based on that and learning how to control it, and it is an interesting book. It goes into more depth, but that's the basis of it.
Okay, it's probably worth a read. I feel like I've got it somewhere, and that someone gave it me for the sole purpose of me being a coach. Well, I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere.
I feel like it's somewhere. Because he worked with like the whole GB cycling, and obviously they're amazing. So he knows what he's doing.
Helps keep your irritations out the way.
Yes, 100%.
Speaking of which, we can move on to our main topic.
I just love that link, like this guy.
You're wondering where I was going there.
I heard that. I was like, oh, he's been linking.
So today we are going to be doing a Room 101. Are you a big watcher of Room 101?
I've watched bits. It's not like not a cult follower, but I know about it, and it's quite fun.
We did. I think it was GCSE year for our speaking.
We did that.
You had to do a Room 101 where you had to talk about things that you really didn't like, and you'd put into Room 101.
There's a story that I need to tell you, but I can't tell you on there.
It's an off-camera thing.
It is definitely an off-camera thing. Maybe if one day we do an R-rated version of this podcast, we can do it. Because it was so bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was funny, but I mean, it is bad in a way.
We'll bring out an uncensored version.
Yeah. Oh God, it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So I'll save that.
Yeah.
So how it was going to work is we've got about 5 things to do with tennis that we would like to put into Room 101 that we would think would make the game less irritating and better for everybody, but mainly us.
Mainly, yeah. Selfishly.
Would you like to go first with the first one, or shall I?
I want to go first. I just want to get. I think we should start off with like the pretty common ones, and then by the time it's 5, and the bit more the outrageous ones. So.
Fair enough. You go with the first one.
Okay, first one. Poor line calling. I.e., when you're on also to put this in together, when you're on an AstroTurf and the person insists they can see a mark on the line, and you're like, it's not clay, go away. It's not. It's like on clay, I can kind of get it, like fine. But when you're an AstroTurf and the marks say like, there's no mark, you're an AstroTurf, go away. That's kind of it wrapped into one.
Because I'm sure everybody's done it where they've sort of made a call where they've said it's either in or out, and then you're sort of like, oh, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, no, everyone's made a mistake, but like, it's when you get that person when you call it out, and then the person on the other side goes, there's clearly a mark, and you're like, nope.
It's AstroTurf.
There isn't. It's AstroTurf, or even worse, it's hard court.
Yes, it's not the most foolproof of surfaces to try and find marks. I agree if you hit the ball hard enough on Astro, especially when it's very sandy, you might be able to see something, but on most AstroTurfs that people have, there are no marks. The only marks are from your feet.
Yeah, it's not legit. You can't really trust a mark on AstroTurf.
How would
What's yours then?
Right, I'll go with my first one. So my first one, actually, I've got one that will link to yours quite well. It is concrete or tarmac courts.
Oh, that's good. That's
They
good.
are the devil of tennis courts. I hate them, and I don't think they have any purpose in tennis whatsoever.
Oh, mate, like, I think that is such a good point. I can't. For me, concrete courts are always the worst because I'm small. And like the problem is, I love clay courts. I know clay courts are bouncy, but at least in clay courts, it slows the ball down, so you have a chance to sort of hit them sort of high balls. On the problem with tarmac is it bounces high and fast. So like
Yes.
for players like me who are quite small, like it doesn't really matter how fast I am, it's just too high. And I'm literally pushed back on the fence, so I can't really do much. And plus, it's awful for your legs. You can feel it. There's no giving the courts. Yeah, you feel your shins after you play on them, and then like to be fair, yeah, concrete courts, tarmac courts, horrendous.
Well, I think it's a slight cop out whoever has them anyway, because
It's cheap.
they're cheap in general, but they're terrible. I mean, you see them on schools where they
I'm
have
gonna throw this one in there for your one as well. Shale courts. I don't know if you've ever played on them, but like God, they're just unplayable courts.
I think
Slippy, ball bounces on right angles. We had a club around here who used to have them.
I
Can't
think
remember it was like,
Presbury used to have them before.
I don't remember that press having them, but I remember I can't remember it. It was a small club that we used to play matches there. And whenever you heard this club, that he's hey, oh, we're playing today, and he mentioned this club, everyone's heart just sank because you knew you're going to fall over, graze your knees. You knew the ball was going to shoot off on right angles. Luckily now the club's actually got rid of them, but at the time it was horrendous.
Well, the last point I'm going to make about tarmac courts is they're not all weather, are they? Because if you get
No,
even a little bit of rain, you can't use them because it's such a slippery surface.
yeah, 100%. It's to fair like hard courts you can't really use in the rain, but tarmac is.
But the thing with hard courts is when they're dry and playable, they're very nice to use.
Yeah,
Whereas on a
100%.
tarmac court, they are not nice to use, no matter what weather it is.
Yeah, no tarmac courts. I'm gonna lie. I agree with you on that one. Tarmac courts are much worse than badminton court.
That was like my proper sort of one that I absolutely hate. It needed to go in.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd happily actually bring a law into the RTA that bans clubs from using them courts.
Because it's not
And the
good for
club,
you either.
exactly. I'd actually go as far as to say any club that uses them courts should be banned.
Would not be recognised as a
Or
proper
whatever, yeah.
LTA
No,
club.
be shunned. There were people on a shunned list for 10 years.
Love it.
I back you for that. I do back you for that one.
There we go. We'll make a petition.
Yes.
We'll send it over. Right. Do you want to go with your second one?
Yeah, I'm gonna link coaching into this one. Parents who have never played tennis in their life yet think they're a better coach than you.
Now,
if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, and fortunately, I don't think I've properly experienced this. Have you experienced this?
In a fort, like nothing like horrendous, whatever. They tried to tell the parent where to go, but like you get it when like it's mainly when you got kids in groups, and the kids crap. I'm not being on the bush. The kids crap, and you know the crap, but the parent will come up to you and go like, "Why is my kid not in like this other group, the better group?" And you're there like saying, "Oh, we still need to work on bits," and they go like, "No, because his, and they start, going, oh no, if Jimmy can be in that group, then my son can be in that group," and they start, trying to argue it. You're like, look, just piss off.
Oh, right. With that, I can definitely sympathise because the indoor centre where I worked, all the groups were structured on ability.
Yeah.
And of course, you'd get two friends who are in different groups.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't say it's because the mums are the ones that take them and you see the mums. I don't want to say it's always the mums, but you get parents saying,
Yeah.
oh, such and such's friend is in this group. Why isn't my son or daughter in this group either? And then you've got the hard task of trying to tell them why.
Yeah, no, it's an impossible task. It's awful. Just absolutely, like, you can't tell them that the kid's absolutely rubbish and has no hope in life for tennis, but at the same time, it's just like, look, you got to try and tell them, like, if you put them into this group, they're going to end up hating the game because they're not going to be able to keep up.
Well,
Like, it's just one of those.
The positive thing from our point of view is what you can do is just say, needs a few private lessons.
Yeah, that's true.
Have these private lessons and he'll move up.
Yeah, puts a lot of pressure on you that way, doesn't it? Because if they don't, if they don't get to the stage, because some kids are hopeless.
It does, and to be fair, I got quite a bit of business from doing that.
Yeah, I imagine, especially in LiQWYD.
Oh, definitely. I didn't want to mention the name, but it was a David Lloyd.
Yeah, we can mention LiQWYD. The crap.
Definitely now.
Yeah.
No, I completely understand you with that, because I don't think it was many times, but I definitely remember a few times where I'd had the conversation. And I said, look, it's not really up to me to move them up or down. It's up to whoever the junior tennis pro was at that time. So I say, go and speak to them.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, I'd be having another session, and then this child turns up in this session. I'm like, I haven't been told they're coming in here. What's this? And so, oh no, I've spoken to such and such, and they said it's all right. And then I found out about 5 weeks down the line that they're not meant to be there
100%.
at all, and the squad is already overcrowded. There's about 10 kids already, and I'm like, I can't take any more kids in this group.
100%. 100%.
So have you had any experience with that then? Because you said you had it a little bit.
Yeah, I got it when I was coaching at Mac a little bit. We had at Mac, it was really weird. It was a very weird club to manage in the first place. We had because we were pretty much growing it from scratch. At the start, all the kids were mixed in together because we had 4 juniors. When I first joined Mac, there was only 4 juniors.
Yes, because they'd all up sticks.
Yeah, so I joined in I had 4 kids. I wasn't doing 4 separate groups of these kids. So at the start it was fine, and obviously you had to start as soon as we got the numbers going. Eventually I think we got up to 80 at one point. Obviously then you have to start separating groups, getting them in the right order, and you get at the start, yeah, you do make mistakes, but obviously you're going to, because when you got so many kids, you've got to try and find out what group they're in. But eventually, you got them thereabouts. And because you'd split up, you'd have to split up friends. You try and keep them together as much as you can. We had to split them up, and then eventually, when you get, it's not too bad in the higher groups, but as soon as you get down to the lower groups, you never get a parent who asks you to take the kid out of the high group and to put them into the low group.
Yeah.
You always get the kid who's like, the parent who's like, he's in this group. Why is he not in the better group? And you got it a couple of times at Mac. It's nothing horrendous, but it's annoying. It's
and you've got to give a really political answer, because if you give a brutally honest answer, then you've probably lost the business.
Exactly, and it's like they don't think that we know what we're doing. It's like he's in that. It's not like I don't see him. I think they don't. I don't know if they have this thought that we don't see them. We just dump them in if we don't care. We put them in the low groups for reasons to try and build the confidence so they can play a rally with the better kids.
Because if you look at it from both points of view, really, if you look at it from the child that you're trying to move up and the children that are already in the higher group, the one that's in the lower group, parent is trying to push them up into a higher group. If they go in the higher group, they'll lose loads of confidence because they're not doing what the other kids are doing. But then from the other kids' point of view, their development will be stagnated because the coach has got to focus more on that one specific child who needs that more attention.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
Yes, it's a nightmare, to be honest with you, but it's one of those. You're never going to get rid of them all. room on one to get rid of it, maybe.
Sure, well, I agree with you on that one. I will go on to my next one, and I'll put a coaching one. And mine is, you'll always have those players that turn up to your lesson constantly 10, 15 minutes late.
Oh, yeah. No, they are a pain. The thing is, it's always, I get this. I know why they're doing it. It's different. For the younger ones, it's the parents' laziness. When they get a bit older, like 16, 17, and they've got to make their own way to the club, it's because they're trying to miss the warm-up.
Right.
That's what they're doing. Because I remember as a junior, I never missed the warm-up as a junior. I didn't mind it. I like doing the running and the stretching.
Well, it was just part of it. It was just part of it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just did it.
It was actually, to be honest, it was because obviously when I at my club, I didn't go to school with any of them, or there were a couple, but we were all in different classes, different years and stuff. So that the warm up was actually a good way to have a little catch up with everyone, But you always had the 2 or 3 who would come 15 minutes late, and even as a player, it's so annoying because it just messes up. Like, especially as a coach, you got them into you just started getting them into the drill sort of thing, a bit of an exercise, and then 3 turn up, and they kind of it takes a shift away because these players coming into cold. I always, as a coach now, I always punish lateness and I make them run laps. And I know the new thing is don't punish with fitness, but make them run laps.
I started doing one with it's for junior club night. And when they get there, they start running around all the courts to get warmed up.
Yeah.
And I said, right, until the last person is present and correct, you're all doing laps until they're there.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
Which was quite fun. So it's almost a bit of sort of peer coaching, if that makes sense. So if someone's late, then that person will know about it because everyone else is giving the most foul looks ever because they've just had to run about 5 extra laps.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good. I did that. I like that. That's a pretty good idea.
But there are just ones, and the ones, because I don't mind people being late every so often because there are things that come in. Traffic is a problem. Getting kids ready for a lesson anyway, and getting them from school to a lesson is hard. But it's the ones that are every week, right, this person is going to be 10 minutes late.
Yeah. You do get them. It's annoying. It's purely down to laziness.
And it's even more annoying. I'll put this in. It's even more annoying when you've got an even number and everyone's paired up, and then this person turns up.
My heart sinks. My heart sinks so low when I see this. You're always hoping, is someone else around the corner to come with you? Because it's painful. I'm going to even numbers to odd numbers. It's like, oh God, are you kidding me?
And then you've got to go with them. You're sort of seething when you're going with them.
Yeah, you're like, I was hoping for a chill session. Are you here? I know my luck. It's normally the person you can't even hit. Oh. It's always the worst in the group. You're like, oh God, I'm not going to rally out this. You just hit into the net at the time. So you're there with a nice smile on your face going, come on.
I don't mind mucking in and doing things because then at least you're doing them properly. And I always let people have a go doing the task with me. I think it's always quite good, but it's never very good turning up late because you're never in the coach's good books by then.
Never ever.
Right, we're getting through these really, really well. There's some good topics on here. What's your third one?
There are. I'll let you go first on this one.
Let's
see if I can match you.
Okay, I will go with, this is sort of a social playing one. This is just when you're time. And it's people leaving the court after their time has finished. So you're waiting.
You have to explain that one.
So when you've booked a court, like say if you and I have booked a court and we're going to go and play.
Yeah.
And we turn up and we're waiting to go on court because we're nice, polite people. We wait for the people to finish and come off.
Yeah.
And they say like, oh, let's just finish this game.
Oh, okay. I got you in that one. Yeah. That's
5 minutes when you should have been on court 5 minutes earlier. They're still there playing.
Yes, I do agree. That is annoying. Very annoying. It's it's rude. He's eating into your time at that point, isn't it? And I don't know what the social set norm is. Do you let them finish the game? I don't know if that's like a set. Is that a set social sort of acceptance?
Um, I don't know. I've always just gone off like once your time is finished, your time's up, no matter what
It's
it
different
is.
for like for me. It's different now. Like I rarely book an hour court. If I book an hour court, I know I'm not really playing a match.
No, you're
I
training.
think it's different. You're training, and you train to the hour and go. It's not too bad. It's more for the adults who in an hour they'll play like an hour of doubles, and they'll be able to probably do a set or two in an hour. It's more for them. It's difficult because do you just finish if you're 30-15 in the game? Do you just finish? I don't know. It's uh, it's,
I
it's
mean, if you
tough.
really
It's a
wanted
hard
to,
one.
you
That
just
one.
move on to another court.
Yeah, but if the club's busy, then you're screwed, aren't you?
Oh, that links onto another thing. I was going to say it's also very annoying when someone's on the wrong court.
Yeah, that is frustrating. That is, yeah. And then you got to prove that you put the court. That's another thing. You have to prove that you put the court.
I did that so many times at Lloyd's. When I booked a court, I had it on my phone, and still people didn't believe that I had this court. And I still reckon it was because I
Yeah,
was a coach.
yeah. No, it's hard for coaches, especially at our club. Like especially when you got a junior. I hate like honestly. So the adults who hate the juniors, and you're just begging that they're not on the court before you because of how awkward it's going to be when you've got a junior next to you and you're telling them where to go. Like telling them you got to get off the court. I got a lesson. It's it's not. It's basically it's because of the way I think our clubs run. The coaches aren't given probably as much court time as we should have. But
But at the end of the day, most of the time it will be with a member.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a member using a court. So I don't see what the
100%.
difference is.
Yeah,
It's using a court, but it's not playing a
there's no difference.
match. There isn't a
There's no
difference.
difference. They're just angry, aren't they? Because they don't their quarter time's being taken up. But at the end of the day, it's not just theirs to use.
It is what it is.
It is what
Right?
it is.
Can you match me with that little hot topic?
Social tennis. A little not about social tennis. I didn't really think too much in social tennis, but I can probably think one up. It's
No,
not
if
actually.
it's completely different, then that doesn't matter. It can be anything. It doesn't have to link.
No, I'd say in social tennis again. I'm going to link a bit of coaching into social tennis. I don't know if you've done it often. I'm done it often because it's not. I don't enjoy doing it, but sometimes you've got to fill it in. Is when you get asked to do an adult club night. And that's not the thing I got a quarrel with. The thing problem I have a quarrel with is when it's a adult club night. It's an open club night for anyone. Any member can join. Um, the one we like Roger Federer, like the 50-year-old one to be one Roger Federer, who you pair them up with a beginner, and they go off on one, and you're there like, look, it's a random draw for one. Everyone's looking in. One, it's like a 20-minute match. Can't you just play with them? And they're there, huffing and puffing, saying, "Oh, I just know how to play with them. It isn't spoiling my fun." And you just say, like, "Look, mate, just get on with it. This is the club night. You came, yeah, but everyone's going to have to play with each other, so just get on with it." But they're there, saying we spoil the fun sort of thing.
Oh
I don't
no,
know if you ever had that situation.
no, that's a really good one. I had completely forgotten about that. I've had that a few times because we had the social sessions at David Lloyd's, and you have
Yeah,
and they ended up changing because it used to be every single social session was just open for everyone, but they
yeah,
changed it to think sort of the ones during the day, sort of like a Sunday afternoon ones. They became like a beginners one, so it was sort of
okay,
it's like an open ability
yeah,
group. But then the evening ones became sort of like it was an intermediate one where you had to be of a certain standard to come
yeah,
because people were getting so annoyed. And you turn up to a social session to be social, to be with
exactly.
different people, and what have you, no matter on ability. But then you have some people who just literally are so competitive and not really. I don't think they're doing it
So,
consciously, but
yeah,
they're they're not thinking about how that other person feels.
I've had a knock-on effect of coaching some of those beginners because like I'm trying to convince some of my players to go, especially the beginners players, go to club night. You can rally now. Go learn how to play a match. Go play a bit of doubles. Learn how to do your trading and put it into a match situation. And they'll come back to me the next week and go, oh, I did it, but honestly, like some of the guys there, just they didn't like playing with the beginners. You could tell, and they're a bit arsy about it. Like, it's just ridiculous. You should be able to turn up to a club night and play without feeling conscious of people like judging you.
I mean, I've always gone with the rule that if you get, say, if it's a 2-hour session and you do 4 30-minute matches, so you have 4 rotations. If 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4 are good matches, and you have that one where you put with a beginner, I think you've done very well.
You have, yeah. It's that's what club night is. You're not, if it was a competition, or it was a proper thing, which is the matches mattered, then you'd understand. But the matches don't matter. It's social, bit of fun. It's weird because also like at university it was so different. Like obviously I did your team training, which was serious. You played with the people of your ability, but then it would have these like fun social events, and it was just hilarious. We got the complete beginners to come join in, and they'll be put with a first team player, who's playing national tennis league. And it's hilarious, and that's the beginner playing, with one of the best players in the club against, other people. It's hilarious, and everyone mucks in and had a bit of fun because it was social. That's what it is. It's social. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah,
but I think some people just forget.
It's your FA Cup equivalent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even me, I love mucking in with the first team players, occasionally because it's fun. I had nothing to lose, and they didn't particularly care. It's a bit of it's a bit of random fun. But I think it's the older, like 50-year-old men I tend to put my bracket around, tend to forget this and take it seriously.
No, I get what you mean. It's those almost a midlife crisis sort of.
Yes.
It's trying to recapture your youth. Oh, I can be an amazing tennis player and all this sort of thing. When really you're just at you're at a club social event playing tennis.
Yeah.
You're not at Wimbledon, and it's not a life or death situation, no matter who you picked with.
100%.
Because the amount of times, because I've mucked in on them, because there was always like an odd number and used to muck in. You wouldn't care what the score was. You just had a bit of fun.
Exactly. Yeah. 100% it.
But then again, that might be different coming from a coach's point of view compared with players' point of view. But
yes,
that's from the other thing. Right, it's my go. So I believe we're on to the 4th one now.
Yes.
So my one, and this is from a playing point of view, and I had this a lot as a junior, and it's hackers.
Go on, explain.
So hackers are basically people who don't really have any technique at all.
Okay.
They can and they swing the racket, but they are very good at just getting the ball back however which way you want.
Yeah, okay. They're just frustrating little tennis players.
Do you get the people I mean?
We have one, moon, but you characterize them as they put in the moon ball all the time. They hit the ball up high, very high, with a bit of spin on there, and then just get everything back in.
Yeah, it's not a lot of pace. They're not really doing anything. They're just getting the ball back in. Yeah,
so I hate them, but they kind of. I remember as a junior, like you always got them in competitions, and they're an absolute nightmare. It took me a while to figure them out. The problem with a hacker is, like, yes, they're annoying, but once you figure a hacker out, they're so easy to beat because they rely on you being inconsistent. So if you use your technique correctly and you run them around the court properly, you make them volley, because hackers aren't good at volleying because they have no technique. So you put them in the net. You move them around because their technique fail. You just got to make their technique fail because it's not as strong as yours. And eventually you break them down. They get fed up and lose. It's a hard one. It's a mental task. You got. Once I broke the first set, once I got it, the first set on them about, that was it. I knew I had the second set, and I'd always win. I'd probably win the first set like 6-4, 7-5, something like that. But the second set after I won, honestly, 6-0, 6-1, something like that, all the time against the hacker. It's always the first set you got to get past.
There we go, people.
And you don't
you've got your little tactic.
Yeah, that's how you beat them. It's the only way. You've got, you got to know that you are better than them technically, and just make their technique fail.
Because I mean, from a coaching point of view, if you're trying to teach someone the proper technique and then they go up against one of these people and they end up losing, it's a really hard sell. It's a hard sell to teach them the proper technique.
No,
oh, well, this person's just flicking the racket and it's going in and they're beating. What do I do?
Yeah, it's just strength comes into it as well. Once you find, like, when, especially now we're our age, hackers don't come across many hackers, and if you do, they're easy to beat. They're only really a big thing, I believe, like in junior tennis.
Yeah, it's usually junior tennis or like men's tennis, where you come up against that 60-odd-year-old guy that's really good at getting things back, and he's got a mean slice on him.
But again, the slice is hell, especially on the wet AstroTurf court. But then again, the 60-year-old drop one shot. They keep on doing it. If they're 60, then you're fitter than them. They'll eventually cave in. You've got to get them running. The thing people do is they get into they lower the level and do the same back, and they just hack the ball back. And the hacker's better than you. A hacker's better than you at hacking. So don't hack. Play your game.
Very true, because that is a very common thing with tennis. If you play against someone who is not of your level, it's very easy to be brought down to that person's level.
100%. 100%. But I'm going to actually link in a good one here.
Oh, go on.
Which kind of, it links in a little bit. The phrase "all the gear, but no idea."
Oh, I know these people. These people who have
hackers kind of put into them as well, because they have all the gear, but they literally don't know how to play. They're just like hacking away, or they hit the pancake serve, and you're like, oh my god, you got 12 rackets in the back.
I think there's probably two different types of hackers. I think there's the one you're talking about. I think there's just people who haven't had any coaching whatsoever, and they've literally just tried to figure it out themselves.
You mainly get them kind of guy, in adult tennis, where they've decided that this year, this is the year they're going to stop playing tennis, and they're going to do it properly, but not with lessons, with the gear. So they don't spend any money on lessons. They spend them like 150 quid on the racket, like £100 on the shoes, and then they'll buy a 12 racket bag and only have 2 rackets in that racket bag.
Yes, I know the people. I know these people.
Yeah, they come to the club and you're like, oh, you look good. And you're, oh, how long have you been playing tennis for? And they go, oh, I used to play when I was a kid, quite a lot. And I'm pretty, I used to play, national standard, but I'm pretty sure I'll pick it up again. And you're like, all right, okay, let's have a look then. And they get the racket out, and you're like, okay, well, you got a pretty good racket. Let's see how it goes. And then you start rallying with them, and the first one goes like over the court, over the clubhouse into the car park. You're like, Jesus Christ, okay. Oh, maybe he's been nervous, and then you just realise that this guy has no idea. He played once at school, and that's
told himself a lie.
He's been living a lie, exactly.
I had one, and it was very similar to that. And you'll know exactly how bad this was when I tell you what colour his racket was.
Go on.
Chrome gold.
Oh no! Was it the Wilson chrome gold racket? Because they did a chrome gold racket.
I think it was a Wilson, but it was gold, and that was the first thing that stood out. And you thought he spent a lot of money on this racket, because even the case it came in, I think, was like leather.
Wow!
And I was like,
that's crazy.
And he turned up and he said, "Oh yeah, I just need all this." And I don't think he'd ever played before. He spent all this money on this racket, and I felt sorry for him, because he'd spent a hell of a lot of money on this racket. And you've probably seen it, where you get an adult who's not played tennis before, you get them to try and hit a tennis ball, and they automatically sort of become a child again. They've lost all control of the limbs.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, 100%. Come that lanky and discoordinated. 100%. Yeah, I know the player.
No, I know the type of people, and it is quite annoying. But what's even worse, actually, no, it's different, but it's sort of on that similar level. I do not understand when you get these juniors who have got bags bigger than themselves.
I get obviously being around a little bit in competition and stuff. The juniors who've got the bigger bags themselves and are good, and they have them because they literally have all the equipment in there. I get it because, they're carrying around foam
Skipping,
rollers, they're
skipping
carrying
ropes.
skipping ropes, they're carrying around quite a lot of gear, and the bag's actually not big. It just looks bigger because they're tiny. I kind of get it a little bit for the good juniors, like the county player juniors and nationals, but when you get the juniors who can't play, well, they can play tennis, but there's no need for them to have like a 20 racket bag. Then it does look strange, and I think it puts more pressure on them because people think they're good, and then they start playing, and I think it's a little embarrassing for them because they can't, and then they're getting beaten by a person with holes in the trainers, and they've got a 20-pound Artenga decathlon racket. It's hard.
Well, this is what I'm waiting for, and I'll completely spin this on its head. I'm waiting for the guy that rocks up to the tennis club with a classic wooden racket, because that's when you'll know that he knows his stuff.
That'll be the day. That will be the day.
I'm waiting for that.
That'll be awesome. That'll be funny.
But it was from the thumbnail we used for the last podcast. Do you remember Boris
Yes.
Johnson playing with his wooden racket at Queen's?
Yes. It was funny.
That was a very, very good decision. I'm very glad he did that.
Yes.
Because have you played with a wooden racket?
Yeah, it was played with one of my old coaches. Yeah, he had some wooden rackets, and he just let us have a few rides with them to see like the difference. Hard, like very hard. If you miss hit one, it hurts.
It was because the heads were so small.
Exactly, it's a different game. You can tell why he used to do the serve volley because he did not want to do long rally with them. They're heavy.
No,
Not very forgiving. Just serve it, get it done with, get a point over.
very true, very true. Right, we come on to the last one.
Yeah,
I'll let you go first with this because my one's sort of quite big. That's an overall thing. So I'll let you go first.
I just think this is not every single person who belongs to this, and it's specific to. It's not anybody's person's fault. It's just the way it's run. And I say committees.
That's one I didn't think. That's the second time you've made me think of one that I'd never thought of. That's a very good one.
Like, there's people I know with committees who are really good, nice people, and they're good. They're good in the committee. But there are people on the committee who don't belong in the committee. And there's also committees that are far, far too big, and there's no point for them. And they're more of a hindrance to the club. In my opinion, committees should be a maximum maybe 3-4 people.
Okay.
So I'd say you need a chairman, obviously, but then I'd say you don't need a vice chairman. I think it's a wasted role in a tennis club. Local tennis clubs don't need a vice chairman. If a chairman can't make a meeting, it's not the end of the world. There's other stuff to be done. It's not like they're running the LTA and you need a vice chairman to do work. It's a small little tennis club. So you have your chairman, you have your social media sort of marketing person, one who does all the advertising for the club.
The admin sort of person, the head.
Yeah.
An admin person.
Yeah, you'd probably have a secretary, a secretary and treasurer put into one to do membership stuff and just do secretary things. And 4, you'd have, probably would put your coach on there because that's important.
You'd have your head coach.
You do all that together. And if you want, you can put a junior representative in, which I think every club should have.
Which I think should be a parent, if I'm honest.
I think you'd have the parent and the junior child, so they can literally tell you what the juniors want. So maybe they can be the same sort of role, but it's a parent and the junior doing it. Because I think it's important to get your junior input. But that's 5 people, and you're going to get stuff done. When you've got 20 subcommittee members who have all tiny little things in the club, one looks after the AstroTurf courts, but one looks after the clay courts, and one looks after one part of the flower bed and the other looks after the other, and it gets too complicated, and you have your bars, and it gets too much, and it's why nothing ever gets done.
Well, what would probably
It's
be a
too,
better way of looking at it is, as you say, you have those 4 or 5 people who are the committee.
yeah,
But if you have a committee meeting, say you open the invitation to members to come along,
yes,
but you say, right,
yeah,
these are the subjects we're going to talk about, then for the last 15, 20 minutes of the meeting,
open Q&A session.
open to anything you have for suggestions. Because, like you say, if
Yeah,
you have too many people going in on the
yeah,
same thing, then you're never going to get anything done because you're going to have about 5 or 6
exactly,
different opinions and you won't be able to agree on it all.
exactly. There's clubs who have a social media marketer. They then have their newsletter marketing person, their email one, and then they have their more physical marketing ones. It's like for marketing, they've got 6 different people. What are you doing? It's just complicating matters. Marketing, one person. If they want help, then they can ask for help.
I agree with you. It's because I think it's quite a common thing now where you have these almost like a sub manager where their job
Yeah,
isn't really that important, but they've got this job where one
yeah,
person from above them will delegate to them and they just delegate again. So
exactly.
it's a
It's just
middleman you don't need.
exactly shambolic, and it's why tennis clubs struggle to grow. Because nothing gets done.
The one thing I do like, because I'll put a positive thing with committees, the one thing I do like for the one that we're both involved in is I like the idea of the chairman or chairwoman going out helps the chairman or chairwoman coming in. So it sort of smoothens it over, especially if they were a very good chair. It's sort of quite easy to smooth the process over.
Yeah.
I quite like
See,
that. So that's where I
I like
probably
that
would say
idea
that
of yeah,
it's where you need like a vice chair. I think that's probably where the role comes in.
yeah, I guess so. I think maybe, but again, it's just I think some people that get the chair role. I think my first chair at Prestbury, she was really good. She was a good chair,
Hmm.
and I think the guy who's come in's not done as good a job. I don't really know what he's done, to be honest with you. It's one of those, but I guess we'll see.
Have you ever been asked to go to a committee meeting? Because I know you must have gone on
At
with
my
some
old
with
club, I did.
Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, at my old club, I did. I went to quite a few of them. And it just, you sat there, and they went. I remember going to the first one, and they went, "Sam, have you got anything to add?" And I was like, "Well, now you've asked."
Have you got
And
45 minutes?
I was like, I was honestly like, I had to say it nicely. I was being really nice to them. I was like, pretending all I said was like, honestly, this past hour has been absolute crap. It's been pointless. We've not achieved anything. All we said is we'll come back in another 3 months and review the situation. Let's be honest. We need to look at what needs doing at this club. And at Macclesfield, the courts were shambolic. They've been off for the past 10 years. So look, and honestly, when I mentioned the word the court need replacing, the room was silent. It was like I killed someone because I knew that they knew that the courts needs to be done, but they've been pushing it aside all these years. But no, we'll do it. We'll do it later. We'll do it later. And I went, the courts are awful. They're the worst courts I've ever played in my life. And there was like, but we don't have the money. I was like, okay, let's fundraise then. Let's get the money. How much money have we put aside for it so far? They gave me the figure. I was like, okay, so we're not that far off in terms of things, of getting there.
There
And
might have
then
been a
one,
grant that you could apply for.
yeah, I was like, there's grants out there. And then one woman pipes up saying, but we need to do the floodlights first. And I was like, you what? So we already had free courts floodlight mark. I was like, it's not exactly a demand for it in winter, And then at the same time, you can't have floodlight courts that are unplayable. What's the point?
Very true.
They just look nice in the dark, but you can't play on them because you'll break your leg, as one woman did.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I heard a story from the place I'm working at now where there was a bobble in the court and the person
I was
sued
there
the
when it
club.
happened. I was there when it happened. I was only a junior. I'll never forget the scream. It was like me and my mate were just training on the other end, and I think it was like a ladies' practice, the first thing in practice. But there was a spare court, and they let us. They were like, "Yeah, it's play. It doesn't really matter." So we're playing, and yeah, this woman just there's a probably it's like a dip in the court. So one, when the ball bounces in this dip, it just skids on. But also, if you're running, it's a different level. So because you don't see it, it's so easy to trip over and then roll an ankle, or break a leg. So yeah, it was one of those where committees. If the committee was smaller, I think the courts would have been done, and that situation could have been avoided.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think some people who go, and this doesn't apply for all, but once you get put on a committee, some people are, I've got a bit of sense of power here. I can.
Yeah, you get them power hungry.
You almost feel like your job is more important than what it actually is.
Yes.
You're not prime minister all of a sudden. You're a member of a committee of a tennis club.
Exactly.
In England.
Yeah.
No,
that's it.
That was quite a good. That was quite a good. I quite like how you put that one in there.
Yeah.
Topic. My last one is quite a big one, and it's the image of tennis itself.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I think there's still an image of tennis. I think there's about 2 or 3 I can think of that problem. Number one is it's still seen as quite a very elitist sport.
Yeah.
It's the sport that you play when you go to the country club. And you see it all the time in these American films when you see all these rich daughters and what have you. They're all playing tennis, or they've all just come off the tennis court. It's that sort of image, which I don't think helps.
Hollywood doesn't help us at all.
No.
No, I do get you mean we are wrapped up in a bit of, you can only play tennis if you're rich sort of thing. It's not true. It's not as affordable as football. I have to admit that. And in England, obviously, football is the national sport. Yes, but it's not as expensive as it used to be tennis now. A lot of clubs can provide rackets. We have loads of rackets to offer. So you don't have to go and spend so much on rackets. Trainers now you can get away wearing your normal like gym trainers and that.
Well, the price for a membership compared with like a gym membership, it's not that too dissimilar, really. And I don't think
people don't think about the fitness. I don't think people think about the fitness aspect of tennis when they sign up. I think they just think, oh God, it's like 200 quid for the use of a court, but they forget within that you get all your social club tennis. Unfortunately, you don't get your coach. It gets expensive when you put your coaching on top of it all. When you have to pay for your coaching. I guess then it's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah,
but it's just one of those. It's not it. The image needs to be sorted out, and I think the RCA have actually tried this time round. With the new programs they're bringing out. This youth tennis. I think that should hopefully change the image of tennis a little bit.
I think it's definitely getting better because, especially if you look at it from a race point of view, it was very white dominated.
I think it's hard to look at it from our point of view because I think we are in the rich area where there's loads of tennis clubs around us. But if you go down to these more like urban sort of towns, and there isn't as much tennis. We're kind of in a bit of a bubble here.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. If you go in like into the centre of Manchester or anything like that, if you go into like Wythenshawe,
yeah, there's no. Well, there might be a club in Wythenshawe. I don't think I can think of a club in Wythenshawe. There probably is one.
I can't think of one, which is it's sort of to its detriment, really, tennis, because like football, you can pretty much play football anywhere as long as you've got a ball. Exactly. You can do anything, but with tennis, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, you need the place. You need a court. Unfortunately, so it's a tough one. But yeah, I agree. The image does need fixing.
And the only other one I remember this when I was little because I don't think it's there that much anymore. But did you ever get told that tennis was quite a girly sport?
I didn't get told it, but I remember at primary school when we used to play cricket, the girls used to play tennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And luckily at primary school, I didn't play tennis. So as you know, I was late to tennis. I started at the end of year 6, start of year 7. so it didn't affect me much. But looking back on it now, though, like yeah, I'd been fuming as a kid. Because the thing I wouldn't do because I like cricket, so it's not that bad. But if I was a kid who didn't like cricket but I like tennis, and see that being a pretty bad thing, the girls only play tennis and the boys play cricket.
Because I've never understood why.
Especially when the bigger. I mean, there are big players in female tennis, but the big players are all the men, really.
And if you look at them, you look at someone like Nadal. You look at him physically, it's like he's not what you'd call a feminine man, would you?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that's died down a little bit now.
That's died. I remember
because there's more boy juniors at our club than there is girl juniors.
Yeah, there was. I was speaking to a coach, and he, when he was playing tennis, he used to have his coach come in and teach him. And his coach used to have bricks thrown at him. What? Because he played tennis. But this was like ages ago. This was before we were a twinkle in our mother's eyes. But it's I think, to be fair, I think that one's died down a little bit. I think it is still more with the elitism. I think there's still a bit to go with that, but it's getting better.
It is getting a lot better. It was an interesting one there. That's a good point.
I think that's our 5 ones each. Shall we try and whittle it down to, let's have like a top 3 for ones that we want going in?
Tarmac tennis courts, put them in there, Tom. Get it in.
So tarmac tennis courts is on number 1. That is in room 101, and we will never want to see them ever again.
Get it gone. Go on, you can say the next one.
Number 2, I liked your social tennis one. I like the idea of people frowning upon beginners in social tennis. Yeah. I like that a lot. I think that should definitely be in there. And the last one, shall we go with players turning up late continuously for a lesson?
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's fair. That is a pet peeve as a coach.
If that was sorted, I think we've had a lot better players. Just think of what you could do in those 10, 15 minutes you wasted.
Times that by 6 sessions.
6 sessions, so that's 6 hours. That's an hour. That's an hour if you've lost if you're 10 minutes late for each lesson. So it's and that's why people think tennis is expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, that brings us to the end of the main topic. I'm going to spring this upon you because I want to get a real reaction for the anything but tennis segment.
I was going to say, you didn't tell me in advance.
It is childhood TV shows. I want to hear your childhood TV shows.
Addicted to American child TV.
Really? You were Americanized?
Disney Channel and Nickelodeon were my go-tos. Wasn't much of a CBBC watcher. So
really?
I might disappoint you a little bit. I've watched little bits of CBBC, but I might disappoint you on these. I don't know if you're going to hear the shows so let's just be honest. Everyone's heard of SpongeBob, so I've watched SpongeBob. So
SpongeBob is an obvious one.
Okay, to go into Disney, I liked. I don't know if you heard of it. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yes.
And Sweet Life on Deck. Okay.
Yes, I did watch both of them.
Okay, then Wizards of Waverly Place.
I didn't watch that a lot. I know the one you're talking about. I didn't watch it a lot.
Gomez.
Yes.
And then, honestly, I did watch Hannah Montana, I admit. And then I think one which is it's a bit of a nostalgic one, Lizzie McGuire.
Yes, no, I remember that.
Yes, they were Disney, and then Nickelodeon. I watched Drake and Josh.
Yes, no, I remember Drake and Josh.
iCarly.
My sister liked that. I didn't particularly watch it.
And they're bringing out an adult version of iCarly now, a more mature version with the same actors, which will be very interesting.
Oh, that might be quite good actually.
Yeah, and then on CBBC, I watched Blue Peter.
Okay.
And I watched Trace B. Actually, there's one I didn't know if you watch it. I didn't know what channel it was on now. It's called Galactic Football. Do you watch it?
Oh no, I think the
It was on
name
like
rings
Jet
about. The name
something.
rings about. I feel like that might have been on CITV.
There is that, but that's why I watched that. I loved Galactic Football. That was a cartoon. It was good.
No, that was. I think that was on CITV.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
It's funny the things you
I watched that.
remember.
Yeah,
From my point of view, Tracy Beaker was another one of mine that I watched. I saw at the
yeah.
start of it, I didn't like Tracy Beaker, but then I got into it as I got a little bit
I
older.
watched bits of it. Like I know bits. I know I didn't watch all the episodes, but I know about it.
I was a proper CBBC person. I watched pretty much
Fair enough.
most things that were on there. There was there was Young Dracula, which was really good. I remember
I don't know
that.
that.
And I'm still classing it the god tier of children's television was the Basil Brush show.
Oh, so Basil Brush.
The Basil Brush
Yes,
show,
Basil
it
Brush.
was god tier.
I did like Basil Brush.
It
Yeah,
was one of the most funniest shows that I
I
watched as a
did like
kid.
Basil Brush. Yes, that was a good show, Basil Brush.
Trying
But
to think.
yeah, unfortunately for you, I was slightly Americanized in my
And
TV
the only other,
shows.
trying to think, the only other ones that I can remember, there was some that were on CITV, and it was My Parents Are Aliens. If you ever heard of that
I
one,
know it. Yeah, I know it.
that
I've watched a couple episodes, but yeah.
that was fun. And then they had, I don't know if you remember where you had game shows, and every single game show had guns in it.
That's Spatooni.
There was one. I think there was one where a you had a parent, and then you had either the son or the daughter, and they competed against each other. And at the end, they'd have to answer questions or complete tasks, and one of them would get thrown into this big pool of gunge at the end of it. And I can't remember what it's
Okay.
called for the life of me, but that was a good
No, I
one to
don't know that.
watch.
No, that's good. Yeah, I said I don't know that one, but yeah,
That
that's
was a
good.
nice little trip down memory lane.
It was.
And it brings us to the
Might be
end of
watching.
another podcast.
Yes, it's good.
So you can go
Good
off
little
and
discussion.
you can go off and find them, those little TV shows I've told you about, and you never know, you might like one of them.
Yes.
At the ripe
Go
old
look
age
for
of
it.
23 now.
I'm old.
Oh
Get on.
dear. You are
Getting on
getting
to my
on.
elder years.
You are, but you haven't become much wiser. This is the problem.
Wow. Rude. Very rude.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, well, that was a
No.
very good discussion-based podcast. I thought we got up into some very good topics.
We did. That was good. That was good. Yeah, it was a good little discussion. I won that.
And anyone who's listening, please spread the word. Ban all tarmac courts. They need to be banned.
Yes. It has to be gone. It must be gone. I hate them. I hate them so much.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you in the next one, which they'll be coming a lot quicker now. Hopefully, we'll try and aim to get to one each week because we've got nothing better to do.
Exactly.
But we hope to see you in the next one. And please make sure you do
Yes.
like and subscribe. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.